actually, when I was about maybe 8 or 9, I really just played all sports. And I think, football was my first love, because I love the physical nature of it. But I began to become serious about basketball maybe the last 2 years in high school, when I found out that I could go to college for free, and that's when I really focused in on it. I think the biggest thing about, I don't think it compromised at all, because the biggest thing when you play on a winning team in high school, everybody has a role. But I think when you play with a guy like Eddie Curry, who's on the national spotlight, other guys who maybe aren't there to see you happen to see you. And I think that was what happened for me. And I actually committed to Indiana State before my last year in high school. And at the end of the season, I had a great season. At the end of the season, there were a lot more bigger colleges coming around, but I already gave my word and I already committed to Indiana State, and that meant a lot to me that they saw something in me from the beginning, and I appreciated that. So that was why I stuck with Indiana State. NBA was never really on my mind. It was just, first it was like, man, I have an opportunity to go to school and for free, and that was huge. That was huge for my family, for myself, and that was the biggest thing. And I think it was towards my later years when there were, my coach was saying hey man, you might have some opportunities to play professionally. So I approached the game a little bit differently. I approached my at practice habits differently. It just became a little more in tune with basketball. And I never thought I would finish 5th in scoring. I never imagined these things. It was just things that just happened to just flow and happened to go accordingly. And it worked out. For me, it was I just love playing sports. I went to after school camps, sports camps, and you just play sports: swimming, running, basketball, football, baseball, softball, anything, just having fun in sports. That's what sports is for me. It never was, man, I can make money. It was never, man, I can, do this or that. It was just having fun and enjoying life. And that's what sports still is today, and I'm thankful that I still have fun playing this game, and I happen to be able to make a nice living from it. I'm Chicago diehard all the time. Bears were tough to be a diehard fan for because there was a long stretch of time where we weren't good, but in Chicago, that's just who you rooted for. And my grandmother, she's like the sports person in my family. So every time I was over her house, she's always watching sports. She was watching golf, tennis, whatever game was on, she was watching it. And I think I got that from her, and I've always been Bears, Bulls, Cubs, even when they were bad. And in Chicago, it's like an unwritten law that you can't cheer for the Cubs and the White Sox, but not me. I cheer for every team: Cubs, White Sox, Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Chicago Fire, which is the soccer team. I cheer for all those guys, and I still do. I still represent those teams, and they're still my favorite teams. Everybody had Michael Jordan as their favorite guy, but for me, Scottie Pippen was just a guy who just did a lot of things that nobody ever really talked about. And I felt like he was a key part of that team. He was able to play multiple positions, able to guard multiple players, And I thought that was the best thing ever. I thought that was like incredible that he can do that. Like Michael Jordan, he could do that, but like, perfect example was in the '92 finals, Scottie Pippen guarded Magic Johnson pretty much the entire finals. And I just thought that was incredible. And I thought he was a special player, and he just so happened to be one of the 50 greatest players to play the game. I don't know if I mold my game as him, but I definitely saw a lot of characteristics as I become older. Now I see a lot more characteristics in him that I can apply to myself. But when I was younger, there were guys like, I was more of a shooter. I was more of a scoring guy. So there were guys like Ray Allen, who was like, extremely impressive to me, because he could just shoot and he had the best form I had ever saw. And, Jordan, of course, but those were the guys for scoring. But Scottie was doing like everything. And I think as I get older, his game influenced me a lot more than those other guys. I like all types of music, really. I like anything that's like feel-good music. Like lately I've been listening to Major Lazer, and they have this one song called Be Free, and it's like